Morning everybody, we're going to have a look at Atom this morning. Not that I'm predicting anything special for it, I just thought it'd be a nice overview. It's one of the hodls that I have, and it's one of the biggest underperformers actually. So we're going to look at it and we're going to explain the criteria for what it's going to take from it to pump. And it can pump. Look, we can see what it did in the past. You know, it started over here back at 380, and effectively that's where we found these bottoms as well, by the way. So it's worth recognizing that if it was able to do this from 380, it's able to do this again back up to 44.50. So it can all be done. But is it going to be done now? I don't think so. Let's have a think about what it is that we're looking at. So we've got a drive here. This is a weekly chart, by the way. Drive of hidden bearish divergence with an overheated money flow index read for what it's worth. It's reset to the top of the overheated zone now. So we're just bordering that 80 period. And if we come down, that's probably what we should expect. Although if the market rises, it will rise through association. But that doesn't really mean that it's doing anything special on its own. It just means it's moving for association. So it'll go up and it'll go down. We could look at this as a period of accumulation or continued consolidation. So we had this massive drop in the bear market, huge, just like everything else, but this was particularly fast. And we had a really big rebound actually. So if you think about it from this horizontal support up to the candle body's high here, there's 144% really. Just but then that was the peak. We haven't seen any highs, anything close to that. That was $16.15. We haven't seen anything close to that since September 2022. So it's like ages ago. So what we're seeing is a giant consolidation. So if we take off all the noise and just leave the consolidation trend line in here, so we've got bang, bang, bang. We've not revisited it yet, but if we were to, you'd expect to bang around the $12 zone, only to be rejected from that. And the problem with this is that it's higher highs and higher low, lower highs and lower lows. So you know that's actually not a good look for it really moving forward. So you have to accept what it is that you see here. That doesn't mean it's going to go making a brand new low unless, of course, the market decides it's going to come down for a prolonged period of time or dramatically, and then you could. And then you have to decide to yourself whether or not it's something that you want to pick up at those levels. So let's have a think about other ways to assume any kind of reversal on this. We'll turn the noise back on. So is there any change in behaviour? Well, this is one of the first times in ages that we've managed to reclaim a monthly moving average. It's the 10 exponential on the monthly where we've seen the support around 738. And so far we're sort of moving up a little bit, but again, yeah, this major resistance, which is also the top of this Bollinger Band as well on a monthly, it all still exists here. Bollinger Bands will start pinching over these next few months, and the hope will be is that they will pinch similar to what took place over here, and then you'll explode to the up. And again, I think that's most likely, given my market prediction on the higher term timeframes, you know, moving over the next 8, 10, 12 months or so. So, and again, it's one of those coins that was on the SEC's hit list as well. So it's and also on top of that, it got hit pretty hard by the lunar situation as well. So you got to bear all these things in mind. You know, there's fundamental reasons as to why it looks so poor. It's not like this, which was effectively, yeah, this was lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low. So we are doing the same kind of thing. What we need to see is a change of behaviour. And for me, a change of behaviour is going to take place above 12, closer to 13, probably more like 14. Because back up at 14, we've got a 200 simple moving average on the weekly, which is also a resistance on these candle bodies and candle wicks. So we've got to think about that. So until we see that get reclaimed, we're going to live down here. This is where we're going to live. The weekly centre of this Bollinger Band is at 574, and with that might be an opportunity to pick it up. It might even get supported on this horizontal, which is around 640. So this could be considered in a way of accumulation, but it's definitely a consolidation more than accumulation. So you can only really accumulate it if you want it, you know, and it's not like it's going sideways like loads of these other things did. Chainlink being the best example of a sideways, long period of sideways. This is lower highs, lower lows really. So there's another thing we can do to think about this, which is take it to its Bitcoin pair. Is there any signs of life over here? Because if there is, then this might change the viewpoint. So what we see is a massively overheated read over here. So we went straight from the low all the way to the 50 simple moving average on the weekly, and we're coming down towards that weekly moving average as well. So from a long-term projection, you know, you got to think about this. You know, if you're going to rotate, a rotation could take place here, which is 761 sats. That's really quite close to where we are. It's not far away. The 50 simple moving average, 768 sats. There's no bullish divergence of any form, of any description, but this was the first golden cross retest, or death cross retest, that we've had since all the way back here, December 2023. It's been slow and steady on the way down ever since. You can't even call this a rounded bottom either. So it's not looking very good, I have to say. It's not looking very good. It's just as well you can stake it for 20% APR, I suppose, isn't it, really? Because otherwise it's not a very attractive hodl situation. Let's move it over to some really high term timeframes, and over here we just got a fresh rejection on the 10 exponential moving average here on the monthly, with momentum moving up ever so slightly and volume turning up as well. Until further notice, this is a bearish chart, really. It takes a lot of conviction to buy into this and hold it. And it really, I suppose, has to be looked upon through a fundamental perspective, because the technicals don't look good, really. When you've got so much other choice out there that does look good, and then you've got this across the Bitcoin pair, and on the Tether pair, and it all doesn't look good, basically. So it's not a bearish video. It's just explaining what this chart is. This is part of my portfolio, but yeah, it's the biggest lagger. So, like I say, you can't win them all. I mean, it's definitely up from the entry points. I mean, it's not like I've lost anything from it. However, it's nothing to get excited about. Not at this stage. You can think about being excited above, well, we'll call it 1,000 sats. You build a base above 1,000 sats. That would be okay, yeah. And again, same thing with Atom above 12, but arguably $14. Once you get to those levels and you build a base above there, then yeah, you can really expect the big moves. But right now, we're sitting down here, we're living down here, and while when we live in these sort of areas with no real signs of life, you shouldn't really expect signs of life. There'll be people out there calling for like huge moves on it, but until we see evidence of that, it's just going to move with the market, just like most altcoins do. They just move. It'll go up when the market's up and down when the market's down. It won't be something that, like XRP, for instance, where you say, okay, this is happening. This is a big deal. This, I think, is gonna run soon based on its own merit, and it did. The same thing with Bitcoin. You do that all the time. There's loads of other altcoins that you'll be able to see that do have signals and signs that could be taken advantage of, but not this one, unfortunately. So that's basically the deal for anyone who wants to know about it. Like I say, I'll stick with it. I'll hold it. And like I say, the APR is very generous. But in this kind of environment, it has to be, doesn't it, really? Because what other incentive is there to hold it when you have all these other choices out there of charts which could at least be profitable? This one does not appear to be. But that's what it looks like right now. The thing that most people don't recognize is that this chart will eventually change if it can get above these areas. And once it gets above these areas, then the situation changes. Change of behavior. It flips from bearish to bullish. But right now it's not bullish. It's just moving with the market, as I've said. And if the market moves up, it will also move up. If the market moves down, it will move down probably more dramatically because it was never in a bullish formation in the first place. Losing support's way easier. And one last thing, though, I suppose, if you're thinking about golden cross retests, it still brings you down to that area that we were talking about on those other time frames, is the mid-60s. So this is down here at 660. That is a golden cross retest which often, not always, but would often give a V-shaped recovery. And that V-shaped recovery would at least take you up to the previous high, which is back up here, but could most likely take you to the descending trend line that we've been in since, well, all the way back down a million years ago in September 2022, when we hit that first dead cat bounce. Right, so that will be that. There's probably nothing more to say about it. This chart won't change, so you don't need to ask me about it anymore. The chart will only change above these levels. So remember that. A week, a month, 6 months can go by, the setup remains the same. So long as we're in this situation, we're not bullish. We might be trending up, it might have gone up 50%, but it's still not bullish. Get above here, goes bullish. Right, that'll be that. Right, hope you have a nice day. Maybe I'll see you on the Patreon live stream tonight. Other than that, take it easy.